I wasn't sure if Patrick was going to be here or not.
Yeah, I don't know if I didn't. There were some issues going on earlier with Patrick and Jeremy. They misunderstood what day I was talking about when we were going to go live. But we're live right now. So hey, everybody out there in Twitch land, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty right now, but that will be fixed here in just one moment. Let me introduce first of all our first gamer to you. We've got only the great David Aho gaming tonight with us. David, there you go. You're on screen right now. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, and I'm not in the hospital room,
David,
which is the best thing about the whole thing.
that's right. For our viewers out there who haven't gotten a chance to see it, David was, as many of you know, David was incapacitated. Um, could you tell everybody out there in Twitch land? Could you ever tell everybody out there in Twitch land how you're feeling right now?
Uh, Pretty good. Little bit sore just because overexertion of getting discharged and running errands and everything like that. So I'm sore from that. But overall, I'm feeling great. A hell of a lot better than it was a month and a half ago when I found out I had diabetes for the first time and got a toe lopped off the part of my foot. So
Oh my
get
goodness.
checked, and that's why I was in the hospital. And for those of you who didn't know, now I'm back at the store, as you can see, backdrop here, and ready to rock and roll.
That's awesome. David, there's I'm sure for some of you guys out there in Twitch who are just who are joining us tonight, the subject of GaryCon registration might be a little bit of a sore subject, but we're going to talk about it anyway. David, you're running some games. Could you tell us what's going on for you at GaryCon this year?
All right. I will be running four particular games, four sessions, two games of two sessions each.
Awesome.
Um, and two of them are my Kindle's Keep first level beginning campaign sessions, uh, and then two high level unexpected alliances sessions, which I have been working on since I've been in the hospital, and I've gotten about 80 plus pages worth of stuff written and drawn for that, and I got to correlate with what I have behind me that I had written before.
You're such a
So
slacker, as usual, David.
yeah, right here. but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Somebody said something about beta testing their games for GaryCon. Well, the Kindles Keep of Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Kappa, or Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, and Epsilon. It. So I've run 5 different game sessions, 2 of them which are ongoing, and maybe a couple of them I might have return people here and there at the conventions. But the Unexpected Alliances is going to be a first time run, and apparently one of the Sunday session is completely booked up.
That's awesome,
So
man.
Saturday session still has spots open as far as I can tell.
That's fantastic.
And I had to, being in the hospital, I was thinking ahead, and I had to get something Dungeons and Dragons oriented.
Right.
So I got myself a cane.
Is that your staff then? Your wizard
That
staff, or
is my staff.
I would think that's more like a rod at that length, right?
It's 37 inches long.
Okay, so we're gonna go with rod of lordly might on that
Rod.
because of the lion at the end of it.
Rod of Dragon Might.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. As for myself, I'm running 4 sessions, as you guys know. I'm running Squaring the Circle. I'm running, which is the conclusion of the gnome game. I'm running to the city of the elders, to the lost city of the elder gods, excuse me, which is a conclusion to Mordenkainen's fantastic adventure. I'm running from Dark Roses Blackthorns Grow, which is my Slave Lords module, and I'm running a top secret module called Operation Exorcist. Um, I'm very excited about all of them. I'm gratified to hear that they've pretty much all sold out. For those of you who happen to get the opportunity to go to GaryCon, but you got frozen out of my games, please don't panic. Just get in touch with me, and I'm running a lot of other stuff while I'm at the show, so you'll get the chance to play with me if you really want to. So fear not if you got locked out and you really want to play. So as you guys can see tonight, David right now is my only player. Jeremy and Patrick and Matthew, uh, they were all killed in a deep sea fishing accident. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually kind of my fault. We were all talking online the other day about what time we were going to go and everything like that, and I think they mistook me that we would actually be playing tomorrow rather than today. But so that's my fault, I think. But David interpreted me correctly, so he will be here this evening in play with us. Um, Before I go any further, David, we were talking a little bit earlier about your artwork and some of the stuff that you can expect to see coming from David Aho here in the future. David, why don't you show the audience one of your pieces of artwork over there? The manor looks amazing.
Okay, and let's see if whoever's out on Twitch can actually figure this one out. I was basically I've been drawing up some of the different castles and whatever in the unexpected alliances stuff, and then I just got bored with. I wanted to have a little bit of change of pace, so I started drawing something else, and this is my interpretation of an existing thing. So anybody that can recognize that gets points online here.
Yes, they do.
And basically, I'll give two hints or one continuing hint. It's an album cover, and the back has got a sailing ship at sea. And it's musically oriented,
right.
Obviously, an album cover.
Right.
But I just had fun with it one night, and I was just driving them nuts over there. Apparently, they kept saying that they had an in-house artist. So I'm like, well, okay, I suppose.
I'm really excited about seeing your games in action, hearing how everything played out. As for some of you guys out there, you know that I actually ran a game last week online in the morning. I ran a session for Jay Scott's charity campaign. Went 5 hours. My players were Jason Zavoda and Tim Sheets and Matthew Lazinski, who's absent over here, who plays Brixton Beholder's Bane. And I guess that the charity went really well. My Twitch game was really well received. The guys, I guess we raised $2,500, which is awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. I was very excited about that. As for myself, we're doing our own charity event, as you know, in late to mid-April, which is Cheetah Conservation Fund. I got some really amazing news the other day that I really haven't shared too much with anyone, and that is Cheetah Conservation Fund has responded to me, and they are becoming an official partner of this Twitch. I'm going to be throwing their logo around, using everything, and hopefully we can do some stuff like cross-promotion and things like that. So last time when I did Red Rover, unfortunately, I wasn't able to secure their official support. Cheetah Conservation Fund's been much more forthcoming, probably because I've been a contributor to their stuff for years now. I'm super excited to see that they're going to be taking part in the actual charity themselves. So super cool. I'm just getting around to sending out invites to people. So be looking at your inbox as far as that goes to see if we'll see what we can do about getting everybody that wants to play in the game. David, with that said, speaking of games, are you ready to go, buddy?
Oh, heck yeah.
All right, man. When we last left our intrepid hero, hold on, we've got some comments in the Twitch world.
And going back to my picture here.
Yeah.
If anybody on the Twitch land between now and if somebody comes up with it in the time that we're still live, and the first person that does this, and if they're gonna be at, and the first person that actually is gonna be at GaryCon, let me know the name and whatever, and I'll give them a set of dice that I had ordered.
Ooh, nicely done.
A little 7 set of dice.
Nicely
Just for
done.
the
Well, you
hell.
guys heard it over here. And I'll sweeten the pot. For those of you who are watching right now, if you guess the album cover or the album name that David, his picture is based on, and you're playing in one of my games, I will assign you a extra magic item for your character in one of the games that you're playing. So I'll sweeten the pot there. David, you're prohibited from joining.
Well, that's no big deal. I'll just get 2 magic items.
Greta Wolf Slayer over there said you can expect more cheetahs in adventures. Yes, in a way you can, because the adventure that I'm going to be making for the charity, which is called Tears That Never Stain, is going to be cheetah themed, of course, and it's actually going to dovetail into a major project that I've wanted to do. Me and the Merch Valkyrie have wanted to do for a very, very long time. So this is actually going to kick off a lot of cool things for Castle Entertainment, the charity. So hopefully, you guys get a chance to participate and enjoy the way everything rolls with it.
These are one of those sets of dice.
Oh, nice, nice, exciting stuff. So, okay, David, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
When we last left your intrepid hero, Arion Marquesas, the Ranger, was with the you're with the Deep Gnomes. You just got done with your training, and you were being released out to go forth and see what you could do about the going to the city of Mirathason. You're hoping that Brixton would be able to find his familiar, and so you guys could go down into there. However, the subject was broached about your entire group heading back to the camp over on Radix west coast to perhaps regroup and report to everyone what you had found and what you were going to be doing. Tonight, since Brixton is not going to be here, I'm going to be taking over his character for gameplay. Brixton is there.
Okay.
As is the remainder of your group, who consists of Einar, the barbaric cleric from Vatun, Merrick, who is the dwarven fighter, Sonny, who is Brixton's apprentice, gnomish apprentice, yourself, and that is it.
I thought we had the one elven.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yes, and as well as the elven. You're right. The elf who is a member of Patrick's Tenebrous Hand Order. I forgot she's there as well. That is correct. So your group is going to go back through the subterranean tunnels that you found. It's very easy to do so. The deep gnomes kind of escorted you back to the mouth of the stairs, which you ascend, and in short order, you're all standing out in the sunny day outside. It's a little bit crisp. The air is starting to turn even further towards the cold. Everyone winces a little bit from the light, the blinding light. You've been underground now for a considerably long time now. Arion, as you're the only player here, and you will also be caller tonight, please tell me what your party plans on doing.
And first off, when you're saying coming up through the stairs, is that over by where we hacked the way through the obsidian stuff?
It is,
or
yes.
is it somewhere else?
No. Oh, you're where you came up. You're actually coming up through the area. Do you remember where you found the traps outside?
Yeah, where we had to basically cut around the obsidian blockage or whatever it was.
Yes, that is correct. And you kept a bunch of the shards, which you ended up giving away.
And I know I put some tripwires and stuff like
You
that in
did,
there
and it's
too.
fortunate that you remember exactly where they are. Sunny almost bumbles into a couple of them herself, but you managed to prevent her from dying. Um, so what do you got? So what's the plan? What's the plan going forward?
All right. First off, nothing had disturbed any of it.
No, there's nothing that disturbed it. You do see some wildlife tracks not too far around it, um, which Tobias ends up sniffing at. He's kind of digging around next to one of the trees. It's really a weird thing for you, getting used to this ring that you've got, because
Right.
Tobias, he's grumbling and growling normally when he's under there, but now you can actually understand what he says when he's grumbling and growling. Uh, he's saying, as he's digging at the bottom of the tree, you hear him mumble to himself, gotta get underneath here. You never know when the big guy's gonna have to get himself into trouble and have to hide somewhere under here. Hey, Lord
I
Gasama, good to see you, man. We appreciate
just
you.
chuckle under my breath so he doesn't really get
He's not
here.
used to it either, so he's just kind of just says whatever and is not used to you understanding him.
I'm trying to listen to him so I get to know his personality better.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that big dummy's gonna have to hide somewhere soon enough when we get ambushed. So I better dig a hole here.
He's like a Wolverine version of Herrick.
Yeah, he very much is. He very much is. Him and Eric are very similar in personality. But your boat is there, over still where it
Okay.
was previously. You guys have it turned upside down so it would dry out. It's kind of camouflaged, as you remember correctly. If you remember correctly, you guys took some pains to hide it, but it's still there,
Right.
and it looks like it's been undisturbed. Except for
Okay.
when you flip it over, there are a group of small squirrels that have begun to use it as shelter. They all scatter when you flip and
Okay.
approach it.
No baby squirrels in there yet.
No, not yet. No, not yet. In fact,
Good.
Sonny tries to speak squirrel and get them to calm down, but they all dart away.
Okay.
Run! There's a Wolverine! There's a Wolverine! You know, that kind of thing.
So I look around the whole area and see if there's any other miscellaneous tracks that might, other than the knolls that we had that had come up on us and everything like that.
Nope.
Nothing else has come over this way and on patrol, or that I can tell.
Nah, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't
Okay.
look like it.
I would say, well, we need to get back to the camp and see. I can't remember if I ended up getting some like little berries or root or some kind of thing to keep Tobias's stomach from churning
You did.
during a
You
water voyage.
you did end up grabbing some stuff, if you remember correctly, to get that to try and get Tobias to be a little bit more calm there, but he's
Right.
actually seems like he's in good shape because if you remember right, you ate breakfast before you left, so that
Okay.
helps
I don't want
Tobias.
to have him spewing in the boat again.
No, no, you don't want to. You don't want that.
So I basically give him some of that along with some treats and like you disguise and I said here's for the boat journey. I'm warning you ahead of time.
He just looks up at you and stares at you for a second. He goes, "It's so weird to hear words coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, likewise.
When you speak, can the others understand what you're saying when you're talking to me?"
No.
"Oh, I can. I can," Sonny says.
Well, other than Sunny, yes.
"Oh, huh. Well, we got kind of like our own
Or
secret code.
Brixton.
So you're saying that we could talk about these guys and it's no big deal."
You're one of us.
Hmm. One of you, huh? I don't know whether I
Yeah.
should be flattered or whether I should take that as an insult.
Well, I'm flattered.
Huh. Well, yeah, but you're not the coolest one here that's being taken down a couple notches by being included in this either. So
Oh, that would be Brixton.
what'd you say about Brixton?
So
Something says.
he's one of the cool ones that's being taken down a notch.
Well, I'm really excited to see him again. I've learned so much, and I want to impress him. So I'm really excited to see him again.
There you go.
So she looks over at you, Ariane. Is there something I should be doing right now besides getting in the boat?
Um, as we're getting ready, just keep an eye out just in case something. Everybody's just keep an eye out to see if there's anything coming upriver, downriver, or in the woods here or across. Just keep a general eye out.
Brixton kind of sighs a little bit. He says, I've been thinking about learning a couple spells here to try and disguise this as we go, but I don't think anything's going to work in this particular area.
Especially if we're going upstream and is can't remember what is it, Aurora?
Yeah.
Is she around somewhere here or no?
He kind of pauses and thinks about it for a second and says, I really haven't talked about it too much, but I can feel her. But I feel like something is changing. Something weird is happening, and I can't put my finger on it. I feel like she's slipping through my hands.
You probably need to go back and commune with her or whatever and think of what it is.
I think so too. It just has this hollow, weird feeling like I drunk too much water or something. Well, don't worry, Brixton. We'll get you back, and you'll have a chance. She kind of just pats him on the hip. We'll get you back to her soon. Einar says, "We're not going to do it by standing here."
No.
He's clearing off all the camouflage on the boat.
Stow it and stow it. Find the oars if we can. I know we've got to have some there.
Yeah, you got the oars and everything.
I don't know if they've got a. I wasn't sure if you said that there was like a sail that was stepped in here.
There is a sail that is in there. They have a sail for it, but you're going back upstream, and the wind, as you remember correctly, the prevailing wind actually it will blow you the way you want to go, for the exception of when you have to turn north up the coast.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, if the wind was going to be favorable.
Going down the river,
for at least the most part.
Yeah, as a ranger, I need you to roll me a 20 for your weather sense, please.
Okay. 19.
Your sensation is that you're going to be able to get in the boat and use the wind to go downriver pretty effectively today. There will be some rain probably. Probably not too heavy though. But once you hit the coastline, it's going to be you're going to have to stay pretty close to the shore, because the prevailing wind is going to be coming at you. If you remember right, you had Aurora pulling you before, so it wasn't a big deal. It's going to be a bigger deal today.
Right. I've had had the sea, a little bit of sea experience with dad and all that stuff.
You have,
which will help a little bit, but it's been a while since I've actually practiced it.
That's true, and actually the problem is that if you were alone right now, it might be better. But the fact is that you've got a boat full of people here who really don't have much in the way of experience at all. Right. So you're going to be watching them and ordering them around and telling them what to do. If you remember right, you were actually one of the main drivers for the boat going down here because of your experience. Well, now you got to be ordering them and doing whatever. So it's got to be a little bit harder.
Well, is there? I'll find out once we get to the coast which way the wind is going. If I can actually do a little bit of tacking and everything like that.
Right. Okay.
So then if that's the case, then I can probably try to rig, like rope up, so I can use the rudder and then have the lines on either side, so I can just have them be less moving around,
right,
more of a passenger than anything, and really work at my old skills.
Okay. I need you to roll me a 20 to see how the old skills are today. Tell me what you get.
Oh, we're already at the sea and
no,
beach
not
here?
yet. I just want to see how sharp your skills are.
Another 19.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to be good or bad, but
you're tending to forget more than you're remembering right now, unfortunately. But anyway, at any rate, you're in the boat and you begin down the river again.
Well, the reason I think that might be is just the time has passed, and then mostly I was dealing with a big ship,
That's correct.
trading vessel instead of a small one.
Yes, and you're also on the open ocean. Or, you were on the open ocean back then, and right now the river navigation part of it, it's a little bit different of a kind
Right.
of a deal. Fortunately for you, river navigation is easier than open ocean, so you're in pretty good stead as you go down the river.
Okay.
How are you going? Are you going to try and take any precautions to see that you're not interrupted by anyone?
I would. I can't remember. We don't have much for shields at all.
No, you do not.
Uh,
It's a wide open vessel.
were there any like little planks? I don't know how high the gunnels are on the boat.
Only probably about 2.5 feet, maybe.
Okay.
Brixton and Sunny can look over the edge, but they're not much more than that.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out if we get people shooting arrows at us from the shore, if we had something where we could duck behind if we really need to.
Not really. You guys are going to be pretty much sitting.
I don't know if there's anything there, like deadwood or whatever we could or put up or whatever. But
unfortunately, you guys are going to be pretty much sitting ducks if you're assailed like that. So it's going to be a tough deal.
Yeah, I think though see who's got ranged weapons.
Everybody.
Einar, everybody has ranged weapons.
Everybody has one ranged weapon, one way or another.
I would say everybody make sure your crossbow, your arrow, your bow and arrow is ready at hand. Not I won't be able to knock it if I have mine really knocked, but I'll have it ready to hand.
Brixton looks over at you. He says, "Listen," he goes, "since you're going to be at the rudder here, why don't we all the rest of us work at the oars, and we'll have Sunny keep watch because she's not going to be much. She's not very strong anyway. So,
okay,
you think that's a good idea?"
I think it would be a good idea. Are you Brixton being as small as he is that going to be feasible for him though too? Or
I'll do my best.
Okay.
So,
if you need help, let us know, or just signal. As you're rolling, keep an eye out as well.
Tobias looks up at you, goes, "I don't like this."
Well, I don't like it either, but we got to get back.
No,
anyhow.
I mean, I just don't like being on a boat. Last time I was on a boat, I almost hurled everywhere.
I know. That's
I feel a little better today.
Hopefully you won't this time.
I feel a little better today, but I don't like boats. I don't like water. I got bad experiences with that, boss.
Yeah, I know. We're working at it.
Yeah, but working on it's not the same. I mean, I don't want to be hurling while you're working on it. So what are we gonna do here?
Well, just try to work at keeping your stomach calm.
Oh yeah, because that's exactly how that works. I just think about it, and it's gonna be all better, right?
Well, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish a lot of things.
Einar and Merrick are talking to each other. Is he gonna be like this all the time now, just growling all the time at his friend?
I look up at them as like, when I'm speaking to him, yeah.
Well, finally, you're smart enough to start communicating with the most intelligent person in this group. So you're already better off than you were before.
Okay.
Except for us, Brixton and Sonny say, present company excluded. Yeah. So everybody starts oaring down the river, and you're going back against the current right now.
How far was it that we went down there to begin with?
Well, if you remember correctly, your trip took you the better part of 2 days to go down there.
Okay.
So you're figuring maybe it's a 3-day trip back because of you're going against everything.
Current.
Yeah. So you're going to go ahead and you begin down the oaring down the river. While you're oaring down the river, the elf comes up to you. She kind of pulls back her hood a little bit. She takes the oars at nearest the back of the boat. You notice that she is like, the way that she is, she's almost like a ghost in a way. She just seems to have this knack for just appearing out of, just when you forget even almost that she's there. She's really good at hiding in plain sight. Um, and then she just kind of appears. For example, she had been at the oars at the front of the boat, and you really didn't even. She just does whatever you say, kind of without really argument or anything like that. So she's a really good teammate, to be honest with you, but she doesn't really offer too much. So when she approaches you, it's a little bit of a surprise.
Do I notice if she's got seamanship skills or at least
No,
boat
doesn't
skills?
doesn't look like it at all. She just is using her strength pretty much to help oar the boat.
Okay.
And when you see her do that, she's wearing armor. She's wearing the same banded mail that uh,
Uh,
Agrias was. But what she does is when you get in the boat, she actually takes parts of it off, like the greaves and things like that, so she has more flexibility to row a little bit better. But as I said, she takes off part of the armor and she comes to the back of the boat so that she can sit next to you and row at the same time, just like a little bit in front of you. She turns around to face you.
well, that's the best way to row anyway.
Yeah, she turns around to face you and looks at you and says, "How well exactly do you know Agrias?"
Well, I can't remember how long it has been since we met originally in that thing.
Almost a month.
It's what has it been like 3-4 weeks game time, I think.
Yes, it's been almost a month.
So I tell her that, and it's like I don't know him other than that, but I've gotten to know him very, I think well in that period of time, and very good at taking charge of things. Good tactical mind that I can tell. Um, he's a little bit off-putting at first, just because it's hard to read his face, and no disrespect, but it's like trying to read your face and action sometime. Both of you are got almost like a neutral carriage about you.
She smiles slightly, kind of wanly, and says, "It's part of our training."
That's sort of what I figured. And I also have a high respect for his abilities. I've been very impressed with his weapon work and fluidity.
She sighs a little bit. "Have you ever seen him with a flower before? Wearing one, carrying one on his garb, anything of that sort?"
Have I?
No.
I relate that. No.
Hmm. He was actually known as a very bright student. That he was actually he had a very bright potential ahead of him. It's interesting that he should have left as he did. There was some among his fellow students, there was some question as to why he would do that.
What do you mean by left?
He left the order abruptly.
Oh, he's not part of the order anymore.
No, no.
Okay.
You see,
Maybe is that why they're and stop me if I'm stepping in any bounds or whatever. Is that why there was like supposedly a bounty on his head or something like that? I think that was discussed at one point in time during our.
it was. Because you asked her if she was there to collect it.
Yeah,
Quite.
that, yeah, and then
Brixton
I
asked her
also
quite pointedly, yeah, if she was there to collect the bounty. She says, "I think that our friend is a victim of politics." She says.
I can relate with that.
She says that I think that you see Brixton's teacher, and the reason I asked you about flowers. She takes her banded mail and she pulls out off one of her gauntlets and she shows it to you. The back of her right gauntlet both of the gauntlets are lacquered completely black. Okay,
Okay.
and on the back of the right hand of it, there is an engraving of an orchid, beautiful orchid, purple orchid. She
Okay.
says, amongst my order, every one of the masters is assigned a flower. That is their name, that is their rank.
Okay.
It also ascribes to the juniors of the order who you were trained by. Agrias and I were both trained by the orchid. We both were under the sign of the orchid.
Okay.
Now, I was very, very young when I joined the order, and Agrias is
Well,
much more accomplished than I am. I don't. It seems sometimes like he never even noticed me at all. And
you came into the order after he did. Then I'm guessing.
she nods. And I
Okay.
watched him from afar. You see, each of the masters trains their students in semi-seclusion. We don't often cross paths. It's very possible for the Child of the Rose, for example, never to meet another Child of the Rose, even though we live in the same monastery.
Understood.
It's a way primarily of ensuring that the secrets of the order are kept cloistered. One never knows too much. But my understanding after doing some research, she pauses for a moment, after trying to choose the right word, is that Agrias left suddenly. Apparently he was sent to Caverick's Cove for some reason I can't even fathom. I don't understand why he was sent forth. It's very unusual for one of our order to be sent forth into the world.
He was sent, or he chose to go.
I think he was
Um.
sent and accepted the commission to leave.
Okay.
But in any case, once he did, things changed within the order markedly. Within a week, he was considered a renegade. Word was that he had escaped the order. He'd left in the middle of the night of his own accord. There was no mention of an order being given.
So no, just as we're going down, as I'm obviously still paying attention to everything around,
Right.
but I just and I'm trying to pick her brain, but not to the point where I want to know every little intricate detail,
Hmm.
because that's not my place.
Right.
But um, I say, is this, from what you're saying, like internal politics or whatever? It seemed like to you, was it what they're reporting after what actually happened, or what
I think
was it actually done that way, or was there an order given, or whatever? Or do you see some subterfuge within the, like you said, the politics of that particular order, where somebody didn't like him or what he stood for and wanted to get rid of, that type of thing?
right. Well, what she says is the reason I'm talking to you right now is I see the way that you comport with your fellows. You seem to all be very good friends.
We've been through a lot in the short amount of time that we've been together.
I know very few people other than the orchid. You know. As I said, we're raised in semi-seclusion, and so I thought it would be appropriate for you to know me better. What I am here to tell you is this. In the order, as a junior, my job was primarily to keep minutes. I was a scribe. I was there to copy some of the things that we learned into scroll form, some of the teachings of the orchid, so it could be passed down to other generations. As such, I had extensive access to information that many people did not have. I saw the original order that sent Agrias here, and then I heard from the orchid's lips himself of how he escaped. and how he traveled and was a renegade, to be feared, to be slain like an animal.
So the person who gave the orders is basically lying to your face.
That's why I'm here. That's why I
Okay,
left.
that was my next question.
That's why I left,
And
is because I realized at that moment that everything I had been told was untrue. You see, the Tenebrous Hand, our order, it's about deception. It's about misleading others. It's about feints. It's about working in shadow. I never understood to what extent, however, the lies and the deceit went. And so I'm here because I know now that if our order opposes him, then I should make of him an ally.
okay,
You see,
um,
when the note that he sent reached the Abbey, as a scribe, I was the first to receive it,
okay.
and I destroyed it after leaving. No one else has seen his letter.
Question though. Shortly after he sent the letter,
Yeah.
there was a, you want, for lack of a better term, an agent came looking for him, and they had a face off, and he defeated her.
There will be many
Um,
more, he
how,
nods.
if you're the only one that really saw the order, how did this one know it, or don't you know anything about that?
I don't know much about it, but what I would suspect is this. Everyone knows within the Abbey that he went to Caverick's Cove.
That makes sense.
But what happened after that with the letter, I can assure you that none has seen the letter besides myself.
Okay.
So,
Do I?
it is fortunate that he is no longer in Caverick's Cove, but they will find him soon. And when they do, I will be there to defend him, but I fear that I won't be enough. It's good that he has good friends.
Well, here's. I also talking in the courses. I'm also interjecting my own history. Whether I did that while we were training or not, I don't know if we had the time or whatever.
Not
But
so much.
as she's talking about the politics, I also sort of say it's not quite the same, but I understand politics in that sense, which is you look at my face, and where I grew up was in Saline, which is high elf country,
She kind of chuckles
and
to herself when you mention Celine. She says, I'm sure that your appearance was well received there.
well, it was and it wasn't, because my mother was one of the higher uh, higher echelon elves in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, my genealogy was known, but just the visage, they it was that looking down on you anyway, because it was,
I
the
must.
skin ended up being, drowish.
She laughs
So
a little bit. She says,
So I understand where the politics, and I just, instead of having everybody sort of cringe every time I was, whether somebody new came in that was trading or whatever and trying to explain me away, and because you get looked, I just decided to leave, and that's where I learned a little bit of what water skills I've got with my dad. So I understand where politics comes into mind
you
to
know,
that sense.
I have seen.
While I'm explaining all that, and while we're having that conversation, do I sense from what she's saying that she's being honest and truthful, or
Make
is
me
she
a
being
20.
something?
Make me a
What?
20.
11.
You get the sensation that she is probably being honest. She doesn't seem to have any of the tells that are common. But there's two things that you need to remember about her. Number one, she comes from an order that she just admitted is very much about
Right.
subterfuge and lying. So,
That's why I was asking, because it's in the back of my head.
but the other thing is that she's hard to as you mentioned before, she's extremely hard to read to begin with. So you get the sensation that she's not lying, but you're not. You wouldn't bet the farm on it at the same time.
Right. Okay.
In my
Basically,
lifetime,
like either she's not lying or she's really damn good at what she's done, what she
yeah,
does.
one of the two. And it crosses your mind that, you know, her armor and everything like that, it's really, really nice. It could very well be that she's much more powerful than she's letting on, and she's there to collect the bounty. So it's hard to tell. It,
Right. With everything that's gone on, I've got that in the back of my head too.
Right, right. And she tells you that, you know, I have seen less than a dozen elves in my entire lifetime. The midwife that reared me, the orchid, the master of flowers, she says and looks at you. I do not look upon your flesh as any distinction, whether it be good or bad. You are simply area. And so I take that as it is.
That's how I look at it too, but others don't. So that's why.
No.
And I like the fact, you know, and our other compatriot, which you haven't met, his name is Rainmar.
Mm-hmm.
He commissioned this mask that I wear, and I like it because whether I'm wearing the mask or not wearing the mask, I scare the living hell out of people.
She laughs a little bit. She says, "Yes, your countenance is quite frightening with it."
The intense purple eyes do definitely give a little bit of a second look.
Boss, hey boss, hey boss, boss.
Yeah.
Tobias is like scraping at your foot.
Yes. What is it
hey,
there?
Hey man, I smell something bad.
In what way? And
remember the guy that tried to roast us alive over at the barn?
Yes.
I smell fire like that. Like not like normal fire, like that kind of fire. Because it was like when I smelled that before, I could smell like it was like the whole sky was on fire. Right? You could smell a lot of things burning.
Calm down a little bit.
Well, I don't want to get burned
I get what
again.
you're saying. Which way? Ahead of us or behind us?
I can't tell. It's
all
over.
One side?
It's like all over. I could just smell it.
Okay. I relate that from the people to the rest of the crew to keep an eye out.
Sonny's like, I don't see anything.
Do I notice anything?
No, you don't. You're looking around. You don't see anything. No disturbances. No, everything looks totally fine.
Now, I really don't know him yet really well, but would Wolverine or an animal be able to, you know, they can, it's always been rumored in like real world, they've always been able to tell earthquake or something, right, or notice something's wrong. So I tend to believe him very highly.
Right.
But would they be able to notice like this a magical aura about somebody like that? Like, may not have cast a fireball, but that particular person, he be able to recognize a certain smell if you got a whiff of it?
The only way that you could find that out really is by asking him, and Tobias is totally freaking out right now, so it's hard to really get that.
But I'm just
in your experience with animals as a ranger, you do know that animals do have a way of predicting kind of the future a little bit like that. It's really weird, and you can see that animals seem skittish in the presence of powerful magic, a lot of them, especially wild animals. And you're looking around yourself as you're doing this, and I need you to roll me a 20 at this point.
8.
You don't see birds in the sky right now. You don't see wildlife. You don't really hear anything but the water. Right.
I'll relate that to the crew and tell them what I think. You know, there's something up right now, and be on your guard.
Brixton is looking around. You see him looking around real carefully. What are you doing? I'm looking for tells. He looks over at you, at Sunny. He goes, illusion magic. She goes, it's usually got a way of. There's certain themes you can see recurring. Unskilled illusionist. He's looking around. They'll give it up, but I don't
By
see
the
anything.
way, as before I forget, being second level, I've got 2 cure lights. I'll let you know on the spells I had today.
Okay.
Uh,
Um,
was
you have not. Something you should know. Your second level. You are second level right now, but we are not taking into account the gain in level. That's why I haven't asked you any questions until you return to
oh,
camp.
okay.
Don't worry
I
about
was just
that.
curious because after that once,
Yeah, I got you covered.
but
Don't worry about it. I got everything under control as far as the numbers go. But you are memorizing your normal spell retinue.
that's what I was telling you. I was
Okay.
going to tell you. I've got other than this normal thing with the 2 cure light wounds. I was going to do command and a leveling the bow
Oh, okay.
because I'm
Command leveling the bow.
that
Okay.
those are the 4 that I
Perfect.
was thinking.
Perfect. That's good.
Um,
And
how many rounds or turns or however long does that leveling the bow usually last?
you have yet to cast it, so you really don't
I I
know.
don't know.
Not really yet. No,
Well, I mean,
you haven't
I
gotten a
asked
feel for it yet. She
what's
looks over
oh
at you. She says, "It depends on the power of the caster." She says, "Usually it lasts for me about 10 minutes."
okay.
She's looking around. She closes her eyes and she says, "I'm going to reach out. I don't feel anything, but I can't." She's kind of, you see her trying to use her blind fighting technique that you've seen Agrias use before.
Mhm.
It's too short range, though. She's like, he's not within an arm's reach of us if he's here.
Okay. I just wanted to know approximately what it was.
Merrick, him and Einar are really putting their backs into it now, and they look. Merrick looks up at you. He goes, "You think maybe he's just watching us, like spying on us?"
I'm not sure what it is exactly.
Boss,
But
he is not far away at
I
all.
trust Tobias's instincts on reading certain things like that animals do.
He's not far at all away from us, boss. He's. I can smell him. I can smell everything. I can smell that stuff that you put on your arrows. I can smell it. I can smell it burning. I can smell. He stops. I smell somebody I know. I smell. I smell his sister. He looks over at Einar. Roll me a 20.
Well, well,
1.
one.
As soon as you say that, I saw you look up. Brixton looks up too. He goes, right there. He points at this cloud, and you see it at the same time he does. There's a slight shimmering in front of it as something flies past it. Make me a 6-sider.
5.
Okay. As he says that, you see something wink into existence right there. It's a man wearing dark robes, flames tracing all the way up and down the arms of it, a bald pate, black beard. He's got a staff in his hand, and the top of the staff is glowing like an orb of fire that he's looking down at you with.
About how far out is it?
Probably about 100 feet, you figure, up.
My reaction time, would I be able to loose 2 arrows at him from where I'm at?
Yes, you can.
Then I'm going to do so.
Okay, Brixton also pulls out his hand crossbow and shoots up. Should we keep rolling or should we fire? You hear the rest of the guys say.
I know this got fire.
Okay, so go ahead and roll me 2 20s.
12 and 19.
You hit this guy. The first arrow, you feel like it kind of comes close, but something bends it at the last second. You're not sure what happened, but you know you should have got him true with that one. The second one, you see actually go right towards his face, hit his chin, and shatter on something right near his chin. Make me a 20-sider.
3.
You've seen this before. It's a spell.
Like shield or something like that.
Protection from normal missiles. Brixton comes up with his bow. He shoots up with his hand crossbow. Again, it hits him in the leg, shatters right on there.
I tell him use silver.
Use silver. You see Merrick drop his crossbow, starts trying to work with another one, put another arrow in there. Einar looks down, he goes, I don't have silver. The woman looks up. She says nothing. She just jumps out of the boat. You see her all of a sudden jump out of the boat.
Okay.
And she starts swimming towards the far side. She actually goes under the water with her banded armor.
Okay. I'm gonna as do that. I'm gonna grab 2 of the silvers that I've got. If I don't know if I got initiative, but
no, this would be this would be your last. You get 1 shot at him with it.
Okay.
At this point. Mm-hmm.
And I'll get a silver. I don't know if white pitch will do it, but if I can, I'm going to try to get a vial ready for the next one.
Okay. So you're starting to kind of move around with you had to make a decision.
Yeah, I understand I understand it's a little bit of shuffling, but
yeah, you're trying to work at it for a second, and then you're just like, you know what? I'll worry about that in a second. You grab your bow and you shoot up in the air. Go roll me a 20.
19.
Okay. Hey, look at this. Praetors, we just got raided with 26 people. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Praetors Rejects. We really appreciate you coming by. You shoot up in the air with your bow. You end up hitting him again in the shoulder area. The arrow just snaps. And as the arrow snaps, you see the ball of fire at the end of his staff. He just kind of chuckles coldly, looks you right in the eye down there, and goes, Die, Marquesas, die. It throws the ball down at the boat. This fireball comes, it looks like this meteor coming out of the air. Sunny yells, Abandoned ship! She jumps out of the boat. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're trying to abandon ship.
Grab as much and as much of my equipment that I can, I'm going bailing.
The fireball streaks down at the boat, hits the boat square down the middle. I need you to make me a saving throw, please.
15.
Okay. And Brixton.
Should.
Okay. You make your saving throw. And I need you to take 6 for me. You just feel your skin burning. You feel your armor on fire. Part of your flesh on fire. Your hair is on fire. Dive in the water at the last second. You hear the water sizzling. All around you hear bodies hitting the water left, right, and center around you. The boat explodes into flinders all around you. You're in the water right now. You're sinking a little bit because of the weight of your armor and your gear. What are you going to do?
Try to swim underwater as much as I possibly can.
What direction? Left, right, or center?
Which would offer more cover?
Well, this is the problem. You're really confused. You're underwater. It's river water, so it's kind of silty right now.
Right, but I know I can tell the current though. So
okay, so you're going to judge by the current. Okay, that's good. That's good. You're going to use that cue. You figure that forward right now is going down the river. Left goes to one bank, right goes to the other bank. If you went left right now, you would be closest to cover.
Okay, I'm going to do that and go to the left with the current and use the current to my advantage and
you're starting
best
to
I possibly can.
use the current to your advantage. You're underwater. I need you to roll me a 20 right now.
10.
Okay, you're under the water. Your breath, you didn't get too much of a chance to suck in wind, so you can feel your chest starting to burn as you're underwater. Your whole skin feels like it's on fire and bubbling. It's so much pain. You have no idea where Tobias is. It's just mass chaos right now. You think you feel something hit your leg like somebody's hand. You're swimming as hard as you can through this dark water, and finally your hand hits a root on the side of the bank. You pull yourself forward and up onto the bank.
As best I can, quick.
Okay, you look back.
And around.
You look back up. Something deeper in the woods starts to scatter. You hear running, and it sounds like wildlife or something. Immediately you suck in air. Your chest hurts so bad. All down your back hurts. You're crawling up onto the bank. You look up to see it. You don't see the wizard in the air. All you see is the wreckage of the boat behind you. The whole water is on fire right now. What you do see on the other side of the bank is you see the female elf sitting there shooting her arrow up into the air. Just kind of almost like she's got her eyes closed and she's shooting it around herself.
Can I tell where she's shooting and if it's hitting anything?
No, you really can't tell because you're near the cover right now, and being the angle of where you're at located right now, it's very tough to see. Are you going to continue to try and get into the cover?
Right, I'm going to try to get in the cover at the same time. Try to take stock of what I usually got strapped on. If I lost anything, hopefully nothing.
Okay, you got your sword, you feel your sword there, you feel your bow, you've got your arrows, you might have lost 3 or 4 arrows in the water, it's hard to tell. Your white pitch is soaked right now. So, you're looking for everything. Tobias is scrambling Tobias is on fire still, and he's scrambling up onto the bank right now. He's trying to.
If he's on fire, reach down and I tell, take a deep breath. And I try to dunk him to get him out.
Okay, you start dunking Tobias. Make me a 20, please.
19.
You start burning your hands because he's on fire. You're dunking him under the water. You finally get him put out. When you pull him out of the water, he is bedraggled. He's screwed up. He's burned all over his body. He looks like it's hard to tell if he's alive or dead, honestly. You get him out of the water and you kind of crawl yourself into
I'm going to get him under cover and take a good look and see if he is alive.
He is alive. He's still breathing.
How badly
he's breathing, but very, very shallow. He is screwed up bad. He's probably, you figure in real world terms, you probably figure that he's got less than 5 hit points.
I'm going to do one of my cure lights on him.
Okay. Make me another roll before you do that.
Okay. 6.
You can't. Breathing is hard for you right now. You're feeling something is broken in your rib area, and you think you're having a hard time moving your right leg right now as well.
Okay.
But you manage to grit your teeth, focus through the holy symbol. You're grabbing it, focusing, thinking about it. You put your hands on him, and you can you feel that the essence of the earth just roll up through your legs. This like starlight energy that you're taking from nature around you itself. It rolls through your fingers as you touch him. Some of the burns are starting to dissipate. He's unconscious. He's not dead. He's unconscious right now.
But he's stable.
He's stable. You're in just as bad a shape though too. You're laying there in the cover and just you could barely move.
Well, unfortunately, I don't know if we got any healing stuff from the gnomes at all.
They gave you a lot of food. They gave you a lot of stuff. But who knows who got it? Who knows if it got taken? It could
Right.
be at the bottom of the
Or if it
riverfront.
even burnt up or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm going to expend the last one on me so I can actually work if I need to.
Put your hand on your own chest. You feel that energy starting to roll up through the earth again. Make me an 8-sider, please.
7.
Okay. The pain starts to kind of bleed away right away. You're kind of feeling like twinkling kind of behind your eyes. The sense of pain is gone. The sense of injury is gone. In your rib cage, you feel like you almost can envision tendrils of green of like ivy wrapping around your bone and knitting it back together. Same with your leg. It almost like a wooden splint grows down its leg from
Right.
sprouting from the ground, wraps it up. When you're done with the spell, you're finally everything seems to finally be normal again. You got 8 hit points back, so you should be normal right now.
Yeah, should be normal.
Right.
Hold on a sec here.
There is no sign of anyone except for the elf, and she, from the midair, you see these fiery arrows lance down from the sky. One hits her. She doesn't scream out. She makes no noise at all, but you see it hit right through her arm. She drops her bow, and it forces her. She is catching on fire. She's trying to pat it out, roll around, and she forces her into the brush again herself.
Okay. I see where these arrows came from.
It came from this spot in the middle of the air that is unoccupied by anything.
Okay, I don't see any shimmering though.
No shimmering this time.
Do I see anything up there? I don't know, because it could be something outside of what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're looking up. You're looking at you're trying to find like a pattern in front of the clouds, maybe something. Maybe the wind is acting weird around it, but nothing. You're panning, sitting there in the woods. You got your arrow out. Everything is covered in water. You feel waterlogged. It's just a hard moment right now.
Right.
You're looking up in the air. Nothing. The rain is starting to fall.
Rain is starting to fall. Do I see it going around the space?
You do actually see it going around a space, and then it's gone entirely.
Entirely.
Entirely. You see it starting to realize this form in midair, but the form just winks out of existence then.
How dark is it?
It's starting to get a little bit darker right now. It was the morning, so it's a little bit overcast. The clouds
Okay.
up above you are kind of grayish.
Do I see anybody else on either bank of if I can see if anybody made it or who made it possibly?
You look over and you see Brixton on the other bank. Sonny is there with him. It looks like he shoved Sonny onto the bank. Sonny's unconscious. Brixton is there next to her. He's got his hand crossbow out. He's looking all around. His hat is half burned. He's laying there in the brush, trying to be quiet. Looks like he's looking around himself.
They're undercover. They're undercover-ish though?
They're undercover.
Okay.
That's all
Question
you
for
see.
you. Before that form winked out in the where I saw it in the rain, did it seem like it was coming from where those arrows were also, or was it from somewhere else?
And when I said that they were arrows, you're thinking spell arrows, not normal arrows.
Oh yeah, I realize that, but from that same area, because I was thinking, a spellcaster, it could be basically casting them from another spot. They're over here, but they're casting
right. You're
from
thinking
over
like
here down.
project image kind of thing. Now,
Yeah.
you're guessing that it looked like it came from that spot.
Okay.
Everything right now is quiet except for the wind and what is still burning on the river. Your breath is going
Okay.
a million miles an hour right now. Your heartbeat's jackhammering in your chest, but everything seems to be quiet right
Okay. That's two I owe this bitch. Um, how wide is the river at this point?
Probably about 100 feet.
Okay.
Brixton sees you, and the other side, he looks at you. He shrugs his shoulders. Like, what were we going to do here?
I am sort of shrugging my shoulders at the same time. I'm still trying to figure out
He
this whole
points
thing.
over at you. He's pointing at something, and then you realize he's pointing at Tobias.
I go like,
He nods. He points at Sonny, and kind of just nods too. He's looking around
and
himself.
I'm pointing at him and saying, like pointing around, like, and pointing at me, Tobias, him, and everybody, anybody else around, type of thing. I'm not trying to voice it in case somebody's in hearing.
He just shrugs his shoulders.
So we don't know where Einar.
He goes like this. He goes like this, and he points back behind him.
The elf.
Yeah, he nods.
Okay. So she's behind him, but we don't know where Einar or.
No, you have no idea where Einar or Merrick are.
Okay. I look down along the river. Do I see any bodies floating? Possibly.
No, you do not.
How swift is this river? Well, it's going into the.
No,
it should be going out to sea, right?
It does, and that's why I said the current was going with you guys, going out back the way you were coming. Yeah. And it's going pretty briskly.
I look over at Brixton if he's still paying attention. I point to his head and then go.
He nods. He shrugs his shoulders.
Because I was thinking if he could figure that one out, or maybe his familiar could look for him, if anything.
He looks over and around you, and he just shakes his head. He kind of points back and forth to you and him. You're getting the impression he's trying to say, we need to form up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to really do that.
Make me a 20-sider.
The only thing I could think of is to find some logs or whatever, vine or whatever, and put Tobias on him and try to swim across the river with him.
Right. Make me a 20-sider, please.
1.
You are aware that something is in the woods. A lot of somethings.
Which side?
Out. Your side. Spread out, moving around slowly.
I take some of the rope out of my pack and I try to strap Tobias with his head up above mine onto my back, and I'm going to try to swim across the river back to the other guys.
You're making a Tobias skin hat, basically, out of him.
Basically, but I hope, and go a little bit. Actually, what I'm going to try to do is actually put him more on one side of me. I'm going to do a side stroke cross because it's less strenuous for me, and I can actually it's basically what you use to help a drowning person anyhow.
Make me a 20, please.
20.
Okay. You've got him up on your shoulder, and you're doing the side stroke through the water. Man, your arms are sore. Your whole body hurts. You managed to keep him out of the water pretty well. The strength of the river right now is it's going fast. Um,
As long as I
but you
go with it and try to get across, I can diagonally.
but you managed to make it over there onto the other side of the river. Are you going to immediately get into the brush?
Yeah, as best as I possibly can with him.
Okay. Yeah, you get in the brush as deep as you can. You're
He's
seeing,
big, so
yeah, you're looking back over your shoulder and looking into the woods, and you're seeing there's disturbances in the forest out there. Something is out there looking for people.
on that side, but not on our
Yes, if
side.
you had to guess, he probably sent in his dudes now to come and mop up the floor with you guys.
Okay.
That's what you're guessing. You get yourself into the water. I should say into the brush. Uh, you hear some rustling around right next to you. Ariane, Ariane, it's me. Brixton says.
Yeah. Same answer in kind.
Yeah, he comes kind of.
As I'm trying to unwrap Tobias.
He's got Sunny on his back, and he's holding her kind of like she's riding piggyback on him, and he crawls through the brush over to you. He is screwed up. Half his mustache is burnt. His half of his face, you see, there's a massive burn down it. Half of his hat is gone. Uh, he can't. Doesn't look like he can move his left arm very well. You can actually see a compound fracture out of his elbow right now.
That's not good.
He looks at you. He's bleeding badly, real badly. He looks over at you. Goes, "You made it. We made it."
How funny.
Who was that? He looks at you.
That was the one that blew up the widow's farmhouse.
That was the one you were telling us about, right?
Yep.
I need a few moments to rest. Man, I'm sleepy, he says.
Yeah.
You hear the wood starting to move again. Ariane, it's me. You hear the elf.
Which me are you?
You hear the elf speaking. It's
Okay.
me.
Did you see anything of Einar or Merrick?
No, no. I was the first out of the boat, she says. Brixton kind of slumps up against a tree. I'm going to be right here, I think. He puts his head back and goes to sleep.
I asked the elf, and I'm also checking Brixton stuff just in case the gnomes gave him some kind of healing salve, and I asked the
You're
elf
looking
if
through
she
it.
got anything.
You don't really see anything, but she says, I do. She comes over, she kneels over to him, puts her hands on his chest, closes her eyes. You can start to see the wound starting to heal a little bit on his face. His mustache doesn't grow back, but you see him starting to breathe a little bit more deeply now. She looks over at you. She says, "It looks like that she's okay though."
She just knocked out or
Yeah, it looks like
got
it.
a lung full of air or something.
If you had to guess, you're looking at it and half of his body is messed up. You're guessing he grabbed her and tried to shield her against the blast.
Okay.
And that's why he took the a lot of it.
I was just wondering why she would be out though, unless she
Hard to
plunked her
tell.
head or something
Yeah,
like that
hard
on
to
the way
tell.
out.
Yeah, you don't see any injury at all, so it's hard to tell. You're looking up and down at her. Tobias is there, unconscious as well. She and you are the only ones awake and alive. And she looks at you and she says, "There's orcs on the other side of the river."
I heard them. That's why I came back over here.
Right. She says, "I counted at least 10, maybe more."
Okay. I fill her in as to who that was, or who I believe it was, and what that person did before.
When I went to Kevrick's Cove to find you, she says, "I'd heard that the widow's house had burned down, but I didn't hear that, I didn't know how it happened. So you have enemies,"
Yep.
she says and nods. "Well, we
And
sh-"
that one's marked up twice in my death count.
She nods. "Well, we should make sure then that soon you have no more enemies."
Yes.
But in the meantime, where did our friends go? Do you have any idea where where the rest of them are?
I don't know. I didn't see anything floating in the river downstream, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
They were both armored, she says. Looks
Yeah,
at
that's
you.
right. How far downstream are we from where we got hit?
Probably about 300 feet, you figure.
My judgment, how deep was the river?
It was hard to tell. You didn't really hit the bottom, but so it was at least 15 feet deep where you were. At
So
least
they
15
would
to
have
20
to
feet
be
deep.
down real fast, right about that 300 foot upstream.
Right. So you're figuring either they're alive and they made it out, or they're in the bottom of the river right now. One of the two.
And probably not alive.
Yes, one of the two.
Um,
She looks at
but
you and she says, Arion, these are your friends, and I know. She says, but it's not safe here.
no, I want to go and somehow look, but I don't know how. I mean, the river can't be all that murky because it was filtering in through that skylight thing.
She nods. Yes, she goes, I don't believe that it is that bad. She says, but at the bottom, it's bound to be bad. You have to
I
understand
don't know what.
where you were looking up, there was no dirt there because you were dealing with a skylight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I
She's
know.
she
And
shakes
it
her
could be
head.
could be a couple feet deep of muck and everything too.
We've got wounded here. We need to move them. This isn't safe. There's orcs everywhere. It's not going to be long before they realize that they're on the wrong bank.
Right. What is available as far as like possible defendable cover here that I can see?
Right now, all you see are trees. It's hard to be sure what's going to be around there. You figure if you go a little bit deeper into there, you might find something. Uh, again, but then again, she's right too. You realize they're going to be looking for you on this bank soon.
Right.
Staying
Um,
there as a ranger, and especially learning about tactics the other day from your friend the stalker. Staying, you hate to admit it, but she's right. Staying here is almost not an
I
option.
know. I'm getting basically just because both the other three are completely out. One animal and two gnomes.
Right.
Luckily, the gnomes are small enough where they're not like two fully encumbered humans.
She looks at you and says, "If I have to carry them both, I will."
Manage that. I
Well,
can.
I'll move
I got.
slowly.
I can. Well, I mean, I can strap Tobias on my back.
Right. I was
That's
thinking about doing the same thing with the big one. I'll carry the little one.
okay. Yeah, and I'll spell you. You get tired with that,
Right. She
and
nods.
um, let's get out of cover or out of by the bank into cover somehow. Try to find something defensible if
The
possible.
good news for you is that you, as a ranger, move through the woods extremely well. Okay, and she, being the faithful of Alona, actually has some woodland skill as well. So you guys are really going to be. You're probably the two best to be in this situation, even though it's a screwed up situation. In your
Right.
party, you're the two best equipped to handle it.
Right. I'm also, as we're moving, I'm also trying to disguise our tracks.
Yeah. She looks
And
over it.
if I can, I don't. There's certain berries. I'm trying to keep an eye out for
Right.
things that would mask the scent. Like if you like cedar trees is very pungent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it brews some things that'll you try to cover our scent because
Right.
orcs will
Right.
smell.
You're doing the best you can to cover
Right.
your tracks. You know that there's a spell that does this very well, but you don't have it,
Right.
unfortunately. As you're moving through the woods, she's right next to you, and she looks over at you and she says, "It's clear to me that they've been waiting for us. All they were waiting to do is for us to stick our heads out of that hole.
Probably.
This
Well,
isn't this isn't
well,
good,
how
she
far to the
says.
coast are we from here?
It's hard to tell. You would have figured you were maybe about. You probably figured you were 7 or 8 hours away from the coast as it was in the boat, but going on foot, it's probably now twice that, at least.
Okay.
And she looks over at you. She says, "My question for you is this: do you think that these orcs are the same ones that are looking for Mirathason as well?
For the what?
For Mirathason, the dwarven city, for the flood."
That I really don't. I couldn't say. But if they're in cahoots with Mister Fireball, um, and the assassin that we had down in the catacombs was somewhat affiliated with him, and since they
Do you
were
think she
all down
was?
there, I would put a good guess that they are part of it.
She sighs. I was afraid of that. That's the conclusion I've come to as well. It seems your enemies have great reach.
And it's not just our enemies; it's also the gnomes' enemies and anybody else too.
No, it is your enemy. I saw him with looking straight down at you. She
Oh
looks
yeah,
she looks over at you. She says, "He was looking at our boat, clearly, but I saw his eyes. He was fixed on you for some reason. Why would
pretty
that
much.
be? Is it
I
be
heard back at Cabrick's Cove that he had something out for me.
do you
Why, other than just you know being in his way at the widow's house, I don't know. I don't remember. Other than that, I don't remember anything that I would have done to somebody like that would garner that attention, other than killing pretty much every one of his compatriots at that point.
for a man like him, I don't suppose that is too much of an affront.
No,
I would suspect that there's something else, something perhaps you don't even know about.
probably. I don't. I have no idea.
Well, one way
Your
or
guess is
another,
good as mine, and all I know is that he's got something for me.
she nods. I'll consider it as we go. She says, "But we're at
As we're walking, I'm asking her. It's like how. I mean, how hard is it for the white pitch to actually dry out? Is just time? I know you can't put it next to a fire to dry it out. That wouldn't be good.
it'll be time. It'll be time. You figure maybe tomorrow sometime it might be okay, but for as long as you air it out, but it's gonna be tough.
Right. Well, we got rain, so I'm trying to. The pouches are
And
pretty
now
much
that you think about it, you actually realize why your ship exploded like it did as well, because it probably caught somebody else's white pitch.
that could be.
Yeah, but you're thinking all these things are coming through your mind right now.
Yeah.
Make
I'm
me a
also
20
trying to
sider, in
figure
fact.
out if Einar and Merrick would be smart enough, which I would hope that they are, to actually unlimber themselves from their armor as best they could.
You know that Einar is a pretty smart dude. Even though he's a barbarian, he seems pretty clever. Merrick is less smart, but he's also really practical. He would have thought of that. Both of them would have thought of that.
He's street smart.
Yeah, they both would have thought of that, you think.
Okay. Um, in that in that case, if they did that and were able to get to some kind of cover somehow by swimming like I did with the stream somewhere, I'm trying to figure out where they might be if they got out of the river.
20 cider for me twice, actually. The rain is starting to pick up now, by the way. It's really coming down good.
16 and a 19.
Your first thought is that Merrick is pretty small, but his ability to hold his breath would be great. Okay? So one bank or the other, he could have made it to either one of them, but because of his armor, you're thinking he probably would. If he's alive, he went to the same bank you did at first. Same with
Okay.
Ivar. That's your first supposition. Your second supposition is that it's entirely possible that they might have gotten hung up on something at the bottom of the stream though too.
Oh yeah. I've
It's
got all that stuff rolling around, but I'm just trying to gauge the best case scenario.
best
And
case scenario.
I don't want to leave them behind, but I also got to try to look at. I
Right.
can't hang around and hope for the best either.
Best case scenario, you figure they made it to the bank and they heard the orcs coming and they went deeper and they tried to get around them. That's your best guess.
Okay.
And based on the angles and everything, they wouldn't have seen you. They wouldn't have seen Sonny or Brixton, and they wouldn't have seen the elf. So they possibly could have thought you guys all died and just tried to keep driving forward into the woods, which is in the direction of your camp anyway. In a best case scenario, that's what you figure happened.
What do you mean by in the direction of our camp? At
Well,
the river mouth?
if you look geographically right now, if you would have continued going through the woods on that bank, it would have been heading towards the camp that you guys have established on the coast.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay, we're on the south edge of the river.
That is correct. You're on the south end of the river right now.
Okay. I was.
You were turned around a little bit.
I got turned around when I was thinking. I was thinking the current was going the other way.
But that's okay because I wanted you to be a little bit turned around because of the stress of the situation.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
So that's what you figure in a best case scenario would have happened. A worst case scenario, they're dead at the bottom of the river.
Right. Well, I'm gonna. Can we still see the river?
Yeah, you can see the river from your distance. More you can hear it for the most part.
Okay.
The rain is coming down hard now. The wind is starting to pick up. It's a little bit worse than you expected it to be, but it's good in a sense because it'll help cover your tracks. It'll make you guys a little bit harder to find. It might deter whoever's chasing you a bit.
Do we find any kind of as we're doing this, like I said, I'm looking for some place where we can hole up and try to at least recuperate a little bit.
You find probably about maybe a mile up the way and about 500 feet into the woods, there's a very dense thicket. It's like a bunch of overgrowth. It almost forms kind of a shell, like a half shell of an area. It looks like it might have been used at one point in time by deer or something like that as a shelter. It's not
like
really
by a what?
By deer.
Okay.
Or some other kind of woodland dweller. You're thinking deer though, based on the size of it and the tracks around it. You don't see any other tracks around it, and it doesn't look like it was man-made.
Okay.
So
I pointed out and said, I think this might be a good idea or a good place to rest and recuperate a little bit.
She nods.
I also is Tobias still snoring like a stuck log?
Tobias is asleep, but he is not
starting to wake up a little.
He makes no noise at all. No, he's been through a lot. Tobias failed his save.
Yeah, I sort of figured that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, do I know enough about the Wolverines, at least being around them for so long now? Is there a possible way to safely extract some of his musk without damaging him?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Not really. It's kind of one of those things that it's not like milking a snake or anything like that.
No, I realize that, but I didn't know, I'm not really sure on, personally, I have no idea how to do it.
No, he's usually,
if it would be in the,
he's usually more than happy to musk an area for you by himself. So it hasn't been a bridge you guys have crossed, but your group ends up in the shelter, the whole group of you. The elf puts down the Brixton, the two gnomes. She kind of lays up against one of the sides of the trees, breathing a little bit heavy. You're in there as well.
Okay. In the same time, was I able to see any other kind of possible wildlife tracks anywhere?
It
Different
looks like
burrowing
there's
animals
been
and
in
stuff
this
like that?
area. Make me a 20-sider, please. Actually, take that back. A percentage.
Okay. I got a 20 on the 20-sider, but 83.
Okay. There's a badger tracks around here. There are some squirrel tracks around here. The deer tracks are old.
How how new are the badger tracks?
Very new. As in only a couple hours ago.
Um, where are they leading?
They
Can I
lead
tell if
they
what?
lead into the woods a little bit deeper, probably about maybe you are you gonna follow them?
Yeah, a little bit. I want to, but carefully. And I tell them I'm gonna. I have a possible idea, but I'm not sure yet.
The elf looks at you and she says, "Be very careful." She goes, "Our enemies are all over."
I know.
She goes, she looks up at you. She goes, "Take this." She pulls out a long dagger and hands it to you. She goes, "If you get into real
Okay.
trouble, use this."
A long dagger.
A long silver elven dagger.
Okay. Does it glow or something when I touch it or no?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
She goes, "Use
Um,
this."
okay. I'm guessing it's with a sheath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I tuck it securely in my belt, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Start to walk out into the woods tracking this thing. It goes about maybe 50 feet down, kind of into a little bit of a gully area. And in the side of the gully area, there's a badger hole.
In that gully by the badger hole, are there other little depressions or
Yeah,
like
there's
copses and stuff like that where we could, our size, where we could actually hole up?
no, there are not. But the badger hole is relatively large, actually. You Brixton and Sonny could get in there no problem. She could get in there probably with a little bit of a problem. You're a little bit too big.
Right.
The footsteps
Um,
around there, there's more than one badger that lives in this hole.
I go back to the group,
Hmm.
um, and try to figure out is I know. I
Arion.
mean,
Hi, Arion.
Sonny was
Hi, Arion.
what?
You hear Sonny. As you get back, hi, Arion. Sonny kind of waves.
How are you doing?
My head is killing me. What happened?
We got hit by a fireball on the boat. The boat is gone. Whatever whatever you didn't take with you, that's gone.
Where's Merrick
Um,
and Einar? She looks
Derek and
around.
Einar, we aren't sure yet. They're either dead or they escaped into the woods on the other side, from what I can figure.
She kind of pauses. She looks at Brixton. Brixton's still unconscious.
I healed him. He needed a lot of or she healed him.
She rubs her
Never
hand down
mind.
his face. She goes, "He saved my life."
I see that. Um, how would you like to possibly help me with an idea?
I'll do whatever you need me to do, Arion.
I'm just hoping you're okay though.
I think so. My stomach hurts, but I'm okay, I think.
Was do I'm is she like is it from just a jar or something like that
Yeah,
or
it
just
looks like the stress of this everything, and probably
how
the
would you
fact
like to
you figure she might have actually swallowed a bunch of water too.
yeah. How would you like to speak with some burrowing animals?
Well, where are they?
Just a short bit down the path here.
Okay, well, I'll go.
Yeah, I
I'm
tell
not walking too
well,
good though. My legs are really shaky.
I'll carry her or
She's
support her as much as I can.
carrying Tobias was harder than carrying her.
Yeah, she's an itty bitty thing.
The elf looks at you. She goes, "I'll watch over your friends." She points at
All
Tobias and
right.
Brixton.
Okay. Thank you. Go now. I wonder too, but I wanted to grab her because I didn't know if my theory is going to be working or not.
Okay.
Go back to the badger den, and I tell her that there's badgers down here,
Uh-huh.
and I'm wondering if I can utilize possibly have her help talk to them to have them help us out
Mm-hmm.
with either pulling up and using them as almost like a in case orcs come by they just that they would just smell badger.
She looks at you and says, "What should I ask them? They're in here. I can hear them."
Yeah, I want all I want to do is tell them that we don't mean them any harm, but we have an issue with some orcs or
She
some
puts her
creatures
face
that
by the
are
hole
ready to
and she
kill.
starts talking in there. And every once in a while, she'll look back at you to get the rest of the gist of what you want to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically I want to if they're okay with helping us out, whether I don't know if me and the elf can't fit in the den, but
She looks over at
or
you and she says, "Mr. Badger says that he doesn't mind helping, but he smells a wolverine."
he has been tell him who Tobias is and that
Okay.
he's not he's and as is doing it is that does that ring my other supposition, does that ring actually just work on Tobias or all mammal, like
So far,
am
it's
I
worked.
able to hear this?
So far, it's worked on just Tobias.
Okay,
She looks
so
over
I
at
didn't.
you. She's talking a little bit more. She says, "Mr. Badger says that we can stay inside of his house because it's not safe out here," she says.
Okay,
He says that Mrs. Badger was in there and she was looking for honeycomb and and there were a bunch of pig faces out here.
they're trying to do us in.
Right. That's why he says that we can stay because he thinks that we're nice, but we got to promise the Wolverine won't hurt him.
I
He's got
I will try.
babies.
He right now he's sleeping and he's knocked out. I don't know how. I know how Wolverines are. I'm sure the Badgers know how Wolverines are, but he's our friend. So I think if as long as I'm holding on to next to him when he wakes up, it shouldn't be a problem.
Mr. and Mrs. Badger say that if you want, they can dig the hole out a little bit bigger that you could get in because they said that there's a lot of room in there.
Okay, that'd be good.
Okay.
Uh, while they're doing it, if she can sort of give them the idea, I'll go back to the camp and
They say that they
get
want
the other.
something though. They
What
said
is that?
they said that they want food for their babies and they want us to protect them in case the orcs come. If we agree, then we can stay with them.
I'll do my best.
I'll tell them.
I don't know how much food we got, but if they need anything, I mean, they know how to grub for berries and worms and stuff
Okay,
like
they
they
said that
aren't.
we can stay and they're going to start digging out the hole so you can get in.
I give them a hand a little bit of the few treats I might have. They're a little bit waterlogged, but
She
give that
starts
to
to
the.
crawl in there. She says, I'll go in there right now and oh wow. Arion, you've got to see this.
I will as soon as I bring everybody else back.
Arion, this just isn't a badger hole.
Okay.
Arion, there's you got to see this.
I want to get the other people out of danger first, and I'll take a look at it.
Okay, it'll keep. I'll just sit. I'll stay here.
Okay.
Okay, so you go back
And
to the elf. The elf is sitting there with Brixton. She's kind of stroking Tobias's back.
Okay.
She looks over at you. Did your plan work? Where'd the other gnome go?
She is setting things up, and yes, we might have a safer spot with a possible bonus. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but
Okay.
Sonny was very excited about it. There's a badger den just up the way, and they have no problem helping us as long as we help them with a little bit of food and protection from the
Okay.
orcs. They aren't happy with them, which is why they're willing to help us. And as long as Tobias behaves himself and doesn't attack them,
She
so
leans forward. She taps your holy symbol. She goes, I'm sure that's got something to do with it too.
it
The
might. They
natural
haven't
world,
seen
the
really
natural
seen me
world will
yet. They
respond to
just
you.
talked to.
But
They
no,
just
they
talked
can
to Sonny.
smell
So,
you. And as you
huh?
brought up before, animals have the ability to be able to tell things about individuals.
Okay.
They probably understand that you're a friend of nature.
Okay.
Come, let's go.
But
We shouldn't
there.
wait any longer. If you've got shelter, then we should take advantage of it.
Yeah.
She
We do
grabs
that, and I'm
Brixton.
also trying to disguise our tracks as best as possible.
Right. Okay, so you guys go back to the Badger Den. When you get back there, the hole is big enough to get into. There's a bunch of
Okay.
dirt out in front of it. Freshly thrown dirt.
Okay. We get in there, and I also try to, as we're doing, I try to keep the human and gnome and whatever tracks.
Who does it smell in there? Oh man.
I'm whatever we're. I'm doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you're crawling through the dirt into the badger hole, and you see Sunny. She's standing upright. Actually, when you get into the badger hole extends probably about 7 to 8 feet into the gully, into the side of it, down. It's going downward, and when it breaks out into the other side, there is a giant stone room in there. It's like 30 by 30 stone room with a
Does it look?
stone door on the side of it.
Does it look familiar?
Yes, it is exactly like the where you were down in Marathason before.
Okay.
You think that what might have happened is these badgers, when they were digging, remember there was a secret entrance that you were told about?
This might be it.
This might be one of them, yes.
Okay.
You get in there and you see there's that there's like 5 badgers in there, an adult male, an adult female, and 3 babies that are kind of walking around on the side.
Okay.
Everybody gets into the hole. You're in through there. This is what I meant. I mean, it's I think that this is like where we were before.
Right. I take number one. I take stock and see what we've got for food.
What you look at is your food supply is actually one of the things that got most damaged when you were there. You probably have enough food for, you figure, the bunch of you for maybe 2 days.
Okay. That's the iron rations in my pack.
Yep, iron rations, nothing fresh.
Right. What about like the polka stuff that I usually had for Tobias's treats?
You look down at that. You've given a couple of them already, but most of them are there.
Okay.
They're not
I
really
try to
suitable
keep.
for human consumption, but you can give them to the badgers.
That's what I was saying, but I want to keep some for Tobias's. He's a bottomless pit,
Right.
but try to give them something and says, "This is what I got right now to help out if you want."
Um, while
And
you're
as
pulling
I
out your
say that,
while
I
you're
don't know if
pulling
I'm
up your
trying to
stuff,
relate to.
Sunny's on her belly and she's talking to the badgers. She says that they say that you can have whatever side of the room you want over there because they live over here.
Okay. Is it dug out over there, I'm guessing?
No, the whole room area is clean.
Okay.
It's
Well, I was
just
just wondering
smelly
if
because they
they
live
had
in it.
dug into something, or something like that in separate from that.
Right. No, it's the whole area is like a 30 by 30 room, stone room. And one side of it is completely pretty much clear. The other side of it, you see a badger nest that's been built out of like leaves and tree branches and a bunch of stuff like that, where they were obviously raising their young. That it just smells of high heaven over in that corner.
Okay. Would that, knowing orcs and with my smell, my nose and everything, would that stench, if you want to call it such, would that actually mask our scent?
Make me a 20 cider.
3.
You're figuring that yes, it would mask your scent. Unfortunately, the problem is this hole being so big now for you to get in might attract attention.
Okay.
That's what you're thinking. If you actually disguise it a little bit, though, on the outside of it, you might be in better shape.
That's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay, so you climb out there.
And I also, if I can, I tell, and because obviously I can't speak with them.
No.
I relate to Sonny and tell them what we got to try to do to disguise
Okay.
the opening
The elf
to
tells you.
help that sense.
She says, "I'll help you with the disguising."
Okay.
Brixton is still unconscious inside of the lair. Sonny's kind of tending to him, trying to keep him warm and at least a little bit more comfortable. It's not going to be comfortable sleeping in there because you're going to be pretty much on a floor of stone, but for the most part, at least you're alive.
Right. How's Tobias doing?
Tobias is starting to arouse a little bit. He's still looks like his injuries were pretty severe, but you managed to stabilize him with your healing spell.
Right.
It's going to be a little while before he's right again, though.
I just wanted to be around when he actually woke and regained consciousness.
You definitely want him to be around and not the you want him to be around and not the badgers.
Right.
So you go ahead and you go out there with the elf and you start to disguise the front of the hole. She looks at you. She says, "Well, I suppose that this is the best we could have hoped for."
Well, one of the best.
I suggest that if you find any of your iron spikes among your gear, that perhaps we should make sure that door doesn't open down there.
There's a door there?
She says, "There's a stone door over there. Didn't you see it?"
No, I didn't know if you had said that or not.
I did say that, but that's okay. We can say that she just detected the secret door and you didn't.
Okay. Now, is that door that opens to the outside or is it pulled this part in?
It opens deeper into wherever, like towards the river.
Okay. It's inside though, right?
It is inside, yes.
I would do it, yeah.
Yeah.
And so does it open? I'm guessing it opens into the room then.
It does open into the room. It looks to you, when you go back in after you've disguised the front of the hole as best you can, you look over there and it doesn't look like the door has been opened up in a very, very long time. And Sonny confers with the badgers, and since they have lived in there, and you're guessing according to the badgers, it's hard. They don't really understand time super well, but they figure that since they're babies, since a mama badger was pregnant, they haven't. They've lived in there since then. They haven't seen anything.
It's been a good portion of the
year,
early spring all the way through then.
Right. So you're all in the room right now. Brixton is breathing. He looks like he's more or less sleeping right now, not dead, not hurt. As far as the Tobias is starting to snore a little bit, so you're thinking he's becoming a little bit more like himself.
Okay.
And the badgers kind of just mill around in the side of the room a little bit more than anything. They kind of settle down and curl up, and some of them go to sleep. So the daddy badger just kind of wanders around.
Okay.
In the meantime, Ariane, will you go to sleep?
Well, let's see. Me and the elf are both, and Sonny, or we can take shifts if we need to.
The elf looks at you and she says, "Listen, I suggest we all go to sleep, actually. We've all been through a lot. We've defended this place as best we can. I
I
suggest
think that the badgers would probably notice right away if somebody's going to be
I could tell
milling
them to wake
around.
us up if there's a problem." She goes down and she starts talking to the badger. She comes back up. She goes, "Yeah, the father badger says that he'll wake us up because we promised to help defend the place anyway.
All right.
They're actually a really nice family." She looks up at you and smiles.
Animals usually are.
"Well, yeah, sometimes badgers are mean though, but these ones are really nice."
Well, that just depends on how you treat them. They're actually a very, very complacent animal, but they're very defensive about their territory, which
Right.
is why I wanted you to talk to them and let them know about what
She
we were
shrugs, says, "Well, I guess it all worked out okay. So
so far.
we're all gonna go to sleep."
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys end up going to sleep inside of the stone room there. The door ominously waiting there for you. The badgers are in there. You end up going to sleep next to Tobias, going to sleep to the sound of his snoring. Um, the elf just kind of sits there up against the wall. She looks like she's in a trance more than anything. Brixton is unconscious still. Sonny ends up going to sleep next to him. She kind of just holds him more than anything. Um, and everything seems to be very peaceful as you guys go to sleep.
Okay.
And with it being 9:57 right now, that is where we're going to end for the evening.
All right.
Well, you guys managed to survive. You were attacked again by your arch nemesis, Ariane, who you now know for sure has been following you and been waiting for you. Uh, God only knows what's happened to Einar and Merrick. But Brixton,
Um,
yourself, Sonny, and the elf have survived. You've made friends with the little badger family, and you may have found another way into the flood, perhaps.
perhaps.
So there's a lot that's happened over here. Some of it really bad, but some of it possibly good.
Now, from at the same time, do I?
No,
I
you
was
can go
just
ahead.
thinking this.
What do you want to ask me?
Well, as far as like, because as an elf, I really can't tell, but as like with Sunny and Brixton, if Brixton's even awake, can they? They have gnomes have that underground direction sense.
Right.
Um, does it seem like it'd be anything that we saw down before? If there'd be like a passage, one of those passages or something that we saw down there before would have led to this particular area, possibly,
Sonny thinks about it for a
or
second.
don't we know?
Sonny thinks about it for a second when you asked her, and she says, "Well, right now, if I had to guess, we are a good distance to the east of that passage that went under the water that we saw. We're a good distance to the east and to the south of that. But I think that we're in general over top of those passages. I could see them connecting."
Okay,
Yeah, that's what she tells you, is that she could see them connecting.
okay. So I'm guessing, just my own conjecture here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that where we saw that whatever the heck that tentacled thing was,
Right.
probably one of those passages leads out to where this might be.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what I was thinking too. Almost exactly. You
Okay.
remember it went in kind of four directions?
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe the south one, if it turned a little bit to the west or to the east.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Okay. Keep
So
that
you
in the
guys,
back of our heads.
yeah, you guys end up going to sleep, and when we start tomorrow or the next game, you will all of you will have your you'll all be ready to go pretty much for the most part. You figure there'll be Tobias will need a little bit more healing, but for the most part, you guys will be okay.
Okay.
Somehow you managed to survive the trial of the fireball that rained down on you. You've learned a lot, like I said, through this fight. You've learned that you possibly have another way into the flood, but more importantly, you found out that your enemy has at least the ability to cast 2 third-level spells a day, plus invisibility, plus the fact that he could be invisible while attacking. So either he has something like improved invisibility or
Yeah.
dust of disappearance. So you've learned quite a bit about him.
Or, well, yeah, because I don't. One of the ideas I had from in my own little campaign.
Illusion?
Well, illusionist magic user dual class.
Right. It could be.
Or multi-class.
It could
Or
very
just a
well be.
cross-class type of thing.
Yeah, it could very well be.
Because it's an NPC, so you can sit there and do whatever the hell you
do
really
whatever the hell
want
you
to
want
sometimes.
to with them. Right. So you will find out, though, soon enough, is the good news. Or the bad news, depending on how you look at it. All right, everyone. Thank you for everyone who rated in for us today. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks so much for everyone that normally watches Greta Wolf's Lair. I see that Brixton was here with us
And
for a little while, so that's good to hear. Brixton, you're alive. That's
question,
good to know.
on the screen, on the feed, did anybody guess the picture?
No one has guessed the picture yet.
Okay.
Nobody guessed the picture yet. Brixton is wondering or not whether he's alive or not. I guess we'll leave that up in the air until everyone tunes in next time. Everyone, again, thank you very much for joining with us, David. If you'll stick around for a little while, like usual,
No problem.
we'll go ahead and we'll do some wrap up. But for everyone else who watched us this evening, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on the first Betrayal. Good night.
Night. Thanks much.